Change is in the bag at Foster's. We've taken an important step in our commitment to a cleaner, greener Cayman by removing single-use plastic bags from our checkouts. Bag for better with our durable, cost-effective, reusable bags, thoughtfully designed to help reduce plastic waste and protect the natural beauty of our islands. By choosing reusable and using it often, you become part of the bigger picture, a community-driven effort to reduce waste and care for our environment. Every small choice adds up to something greater. So bring your bags back, and we'll make a real impact together. Foster's. Better because we care.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website. Just visit yumcayman.ky for more info.
The following is a paid political broadcast. The views, information, or opinions expressed in this forum are solely those of the participants of this event and do not represent the views of the management and staff of Radio Cayman.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman. How's everybody doing? I am your host, Kathy Miller. Welcome to The Buzz this morning. I first want to say yesterday was the elections in Canada, and I'm extremely happy the Conservatives didn't win. So that is my very biased opinion on that. And we know that tomorrow, so the Liberals won, and I think they're still figuring out the majority because they didn't get majority seats when they did win last night. So I think they're going to figure that out. Unless they did that in the middle of the night, I don't know, because, I had to get up and come here for the show this morning. But pivoting from that, we do know that tomorrow in the Cayman Islands is Election Day, and this is perhaps one of the most serious elections that we've had in a long time. And I'm happy to say that in studio with me this morning, up until 9:30, I'll be welcoming members of the Progressives, or PPM, as we affectionately know them as. And right now, I have from Savannah, I have Miss Donna Bush, and representing Newlands, we have candidate Mr. Alva Suckoo. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Thank you for having us, Kathy.
Good to have you.
Yes,
Very good to have you.
Man.
I know we spoke almost about a month ago or so. The time is flying, so I'm sure for all of us, we're not exactly sure the date of it, but we did speak our first time, at least chatting and getting to know who you are on The Buzz, letting our listeners know why you were campaigning and all the rest. And so tomorrow's the big day. How are we feeling?
Well, and first of all, let me say good morning to everyone. Good morning to everybody in Newlands. I'm feeling tired. It's been a long road getting to this point, but also excited and energized at the same time, because it's been such an amazing experience for me, especially reconnecting with everybody, getting back into the trenches. It's been 4 years for me, and I just was so looking forward to getting to this point. But looking back now, I realize just how much I've enjoyed making contact with everybody, getting back in the community 100%, and immersing myself in what it is that I came to do. So for me, it's been a really positive experience.
Excellent. What about for you, Donna?
It's been interesting and enlightening. And I think those are the two words that I would use to describe this journey for me for the last 2+ months. I've been able to reconnect with old friends and meet lots of new ones. I've been welcomed into the homes of a few hundred people.
Wow.
Yes. And I've learned a lot more about Savannah, Newlands, and about Savannah in particular, and about the needs of the people, and their dreams and aspirations for our community. So it's been really, really good, to be honest. I can't wait till tomorrow. Like Al said, I'm really tired as well. My brain is tired, my body is tired, but I just hope and pray that it's all for the betterment of our community in the end.
Yeah, I understand. I understand the tiredness for sure.
Yes.
When you say you've learned so many new things when it comes to the Savannah Newlands area, what are those new lessons that have come into your mind?
Well, one of the things that really stands out to me is that I've learned that people are ready for change. They may speak about it behind closed doors and not necessarily out in the open, but they are ready for change. They're talking about the things that matter to them. Again, not publicly, but behind closed doors. So it's just been very interesting. That's the one thing that stands out to me. There are other things that I've learned being ingrained in an actual political campaign and not just being a voter on the outside or a civil servant on the outside
Right.
looking in. It's the dynamics are interesting. We have interesting personalities. At some points, it has been disheartening to me, to be honest, as a human being, as a woman, as a Caymanian, to see some of the things that have been put out there about colleagues, about other people who are just really trying to serve the people. There's a place for politicians. We're servants, and it doesn't. It takes a lot of bravery.
It does.
To do this, and a lot of courage.
And a lot of thick skin.
Mm-hmm.
It really, really does, and it can break you if you're not strong. So you have to know what you're doing when you're going in. It just kind of reminds me of years ago when I talked to my mom about running for politics, because my mom is my best friend. She's my confidant. She's everything to me. And I remember the first time, like 3 seasons ago, I went to her and I said, Mom, I think I want to run for politics. And she said, if you run for politics, I'll disown you. And I was like, what? And she said, yeah. She says, I've seen so many good people go into politics, and when they come out, they're not as good anymore. Mm-hmm. That was the word that she used to describe, but I think she just meant changed people
For the
and
worse.
not necessarily for the better.
Right.
Yes. So, I took that to heart, and I obviously didn't run that time, but I went back to her again this time when I was considering it. And, her perspective changed. She said, Donna, if this is something that you really want to do, and you've been talking to me about it for almost 20 years now, go ahead and do it. You have my blessings. And that's all I really needed.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good. That's important.
Yeah.
Alva, so coming off the comments of what Donna's mom had said, once people go into politics, they often change, but more so for the worse, right? In that sense, you've been elected previously,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm lessons learned all the time. And before you decided to run this time, you went and got your law degree. I know that we spoke about that last time you were here.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel that there's more knowledge that you've added to yourself and just more experience, right? So when there's sentiments of people will come out just changed and not for the better. What's your take on that? Because I look at you and I think, look at Alva. Alva's continued to grow as a man, as a person.
He's an exception to the rule.
It comes down to the foundation you're building on. So I had a similar experience. My mother told me she didn't ever want me anywhere near politics. Wow. She accepted it the first time around, but when I started talking about doing it again, because she's seen, the effect it has on you personally, on your personal life, which we don't talk about. We don't go out and broadcast the negative side of politics. But she was very reluctant to support me this time, to the point where she said, if you do that again, I might go out and campaign against you. But what got me was when I got to the point of getting closer to making a decision, she said to me, I think you should do it. Mm-hmm. And I think that is, Joey talked about that at the meeting the other night, because that is the point when I picked up the phone. I said, okay, the biggest hurdle has been conquered, and I can deal with the rest. But it's that grounding that she's always, the way she raised me, to always stay humble, stay true to your values. Don't let personal agendas or aspirations control the person you are. And so I've tried to stick to that. And I think for the most part, I have. I was scared to death going into politics the first time because I was expecting this deep, dark, dangerous world. But it's you get out of it what you put in. And I've always taken a different approach than some people towards politics, that it's service to the country, service to the people. And it is one of the most, I want to say, revered positions that you can have in a society. And you should treat it as such. You shouldn't degrade it. You shouldn't bring a blemish onto the word politician, which many have done.
Right.
So, and that's how I carry myself. I always wear my heart on my sleeve. What you see is what you get. And no hidden agendas, So that's how I make it through politics.
Should you be elected this time, tomorrow? I know you guys are speaking in manifestation terms, but I have to be objective here. So
Yes,
should
of
you
course.
be elected, what do you think that you would do differently, having seen what's gone on in the past 4 years and then previously from your previous tenure as a politician?
I always say, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're not going to become a better person. So I can't blame my loss on anyone else but me, because obviously the last time that I ran, Newlands thought differently. But I've reflected, I've looked back, and I've realized what was missing from my performance in terms of staying in tune with the community, being in the community a lot more. I got more, I think, sidelined into the technical aspects of the role. I was studying law. I was looking at parliamentary procedures, bills, making amendments to laws. You can get sort of bogged down in that because there's a lot of work. But what people want to see is a representative who is going to be in the community a lot more focused on community building, dealing with the social issues, the issues that affect people. And, that's what I'm prepared to do in terms of coming back to represent the people in Newlands. I was doing that clearly, the 4 years, but I think that I've in being able to re-energize and refocus, I know a lot more what the people expect, and it's a learning process. Sometimes you have the best intentions in the world, but people don't see it that way. I'm confident. I've spoken to a lot of people, and I've heard their feedback and their concerns, and I've adapted to those, and I've embraced those. So I'm fully prepared to be the representative Newlands wants.
So you see more of a focus, still a focus on the technical side of it, of the role, but also just as much an important focus to be within the community, seeing what the needs are and helping the people out there. Have you been able to do any of that in the past 4 years as well?
On and off. Clearly, when you're not, my first 2 years, I was actually trying to find a job. That's the experience I went through, because nobody hires an ex-politician.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, that's one of the dark aspects of public service. But, I've never been one to complain. I just pulled up my bootstraps and kept going and made it. It makes you stronger, and it makes you also focus and reflect on what needs to change about the society. Because in other countries, when you come out of politics, headhunters are looking for you. They're trying to recruit you because you have contacts, you have experience that they're looking for. In Cayman, it's a little different because people don't want to hire you because you might have some political baggage or enemies. Cayman can be a vindictive society when it comes to politics. So that's one of the negative things about it. But I was able to stay in touch with the community. I was still living in the community, going to school, running my little business that I started, getting involved in dealing with some of the constituents who would still contact me and say, hey, can you help me with this issue or that issue? And I would pass it on to normally Joey Hugh, who was always there to support the people in Newlands, whether he had a candidate there or not. So, the PPM was very supportive throughout the 4 years. And that is part of the reason why I'm still with the PPM, because, they were involved throughout.
All right, excellent. We're going to go to a commercial break right now. When we come back, we'll get a little bit into the manifesto, which has been recently launched, at least since we last talked, it's been launched. So we'll get into a little bit about that and then talk about as well, you have a final rally happening this evening.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the commercial break.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Solomon McCherry Ebanks, 1901 through 1990. McCherry Ebanks grew up in West Bay and went to sea at 16. At the age of 26, he became a navigator and from then was known affectionately as Captain McCherry. During World War II, he risked his life and those of his crew to sail between Cayman and Tampa, bringing food and supplies to his countrymen. Captain McCherry was also a turtler, sailing regularly to the Mosquito Keys. When he retired from sea, he established a store in West Bay and became a farmer, raising cattle and ground provisions. He thus supplied the community with fresh beef, fruits and vegetables, and the basic necessities of life. He was married to Louise Editha Ebanks, and they had 8 children. He assisted many people in his community, including his nephews who were orphaned at a young age and raised by Captain McCherry and his wife. He was a man of foresight who saw the need to invest in his island, which he did by purchasing property. During his later years, the sale of some of the property enabled him to maintain an independent livelihood for his wife and himself.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Hey Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked. You can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents? Browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students? Just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm John Edward Banks. As a longtime resident of Red Bay, proud member of the Lions Club of Zach Cayman, and a former civil servant, I know what real community service looks like. That's why I'm tutoring Roy here. Roy has the experience, the heart, and the commitment to truly serve the people of Red Bay. I'm standing with Roy Tatum, and you should too.
We're moving forward. We're moving forward. We're moving forward. See the light. Yes, to peers that help our youth. Don't let fear decide the way. Vote yes to cruise on referendum day. Vote yes to cruise on referendum day.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and in studio with me I have from the PPM, we have candidate for Savannah, we have Miss Donna Bush, and we have candidate for Newlands, we have Alva Suckoo. And we were just talking a little bit about them. Well, Donna, for the first time getting in the game here in politics. We know her very affectionately as a media personality and a past civil servant for several years, and what it's like to be on that side of the table. And now she's running elections this year. And we also have Alva Suckoo, who previously was elected before, had a little break in these past 4 years, got his law degree, seen the changes that he knows that he would make should he be elected again tomorrow. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the manifesto that was recently launched by the PPM. So the key points, I guess, Alva, for you, the key points in that manifesto that you want to address, share with us.
Well, education. Education has always been my thing. From the first time I entered politics, I've been pushing education because I see it as the solution to the majority of our problems. So we've actually, and I'm proud to say that, this manifesto is the result of the team sitting together, pulling together ideas. What are our plans going to be that we're going to work on together, which gives us a huge advantage over what we had the past 4 years, which was a group of independents with different agendas, different manifestos that tried to come together, and that just didn't work. No. But overall, our education plan, I think, is going to be good for the country. We're going to put policies in place to ensure that every public school is rated good or better by the end of the term. So that's a huge task to accomplish. But we're going to obviously put in the support systems so that can be achieved. Things like governance bodies in the schools. So the way we have it now, you have the education ministry, the Department of Education Services, and then the schools fall under. What we've recognized is that there's a gap in communication between those entities, and quite often the education ministry will craft a new direction or new policies, but they don't get evenly filtered out to the schools. So you will have some schools complying 100%. You have other schools that are not really in tune with what the experts are saying the schools should be doing. These governance bodies are going to sit in place over the schools to ensure the proper running of the school. They're not going to be devising policy or taking over the job of the technocrats in the ministry. Their job is to assist the school with implementing what comes down from the experts. And they'll be made up of educators, parents, private sector individuals. So you'll have all stakeholders, and especially the private sector individuals. People may question, well, why? Clearly, we're preparing students to go out and meet the demands of the private sector in the long run. So they are a stakeholder in the whole process. So it'll be good to engage them from the early stage to ensure that what we are producing in terms of students is meeting the requirements of the business world. We're going to do things like introduce technical and vocational much earlier into the system. We're looking at where we need to add capacity because we're growing at a phenomenal rate, especially in the eastern districts. Savannah Primary is a prime example. The school is overcrowded. It's not a conducive learning environment anymore. We need to ensure short term that we increase the learning space in that school. Longer term, we do need another primary school in the eastern districts, in Bodden Town in particular. So those are things that we're looking at with education. We're looking at adapting technology into the curriculum. China right now are teaching 6-year-olds how to use AI. We're way behind the ball when it comes to that sort of development. AI is moving at a phenomenal rate. if we don't embrace it now, if we don't incorporate it into our learning processes, Cayman will be left behind. And coming from the IT world, I know how fast technology moves, so we're already behind in terms of adapting AI, but also adapting the career paths that we give our young people. AI is going to radically change the workplace. Jobs are going to disappear that we think are, good jobs to go into now. I'll give you a good example, paralegals. A lawyer typically has a paralegal assisting them. They'll hand them research tasks, ask them to prepare, do the groundwork for legal opinions or whatever they might be working on. You can ask AI to do that, and it can produce it in a matter of 5 seconds, versus a paralegal sitting at a desk for a day and a half. So is it smart for us to encourage people into paralegal roles when we should be encouraging them into attorney roles? Those are the decisions we have to make, because the paralegal may disappear one day.
But can we also say that same argument with lawyers?
No, because you always need that legal expertise, that human factor that AI isn't going to be able to replace. So at the top level, a lawyer is going to be hard to replace with AI, because AI can't go to court and argue on behalf of a client.
Right. I've understood some lawyers, I think it was in Atlanta, and this was months ago, I might have talked about this, where they relied on AI, and I think it was particularly on ChatGPT, and at that time it wasn't updated in the sense of anything that was, at least in the past 3 years, it didn't have information on. And so when you're doing your research there, it didn't have any new kind of relevant info that you could find. It was all older stuff. And anyways, that lawyer relied on everything from ChatGPT, from my understanding, and they lost the case. So it was like very much relying on this new tool and technology. But I mean, I get it. I think it can assist you with things, but I think so much comes from our own thinking, our own expertise, our own actual groundwork in doing what we have to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an attorney now. I would never depend on AI to produce a finished piece of work, because you're the legal expert and it's your opinion that the client is relying on. So if you allow AI to take over that role, you're taking a big risk, a huge liability, because if it gets it wrong, you're the person responsible, not AI.
Right.
But it is a useful tool. It is something that we shouldn't run away from it. It's here to stay, and it's going to become more and more prominent in the business world as time goes on. So, we have to find ways to make sure our students are using it for that purpose, to enhance themselves.
I understand that, and I agree. AI is such a hugely emerging market, at least for globally, and in the Cayman Islands, definitely. Sometimes we're a little slow to adapt to what the rest of the world is doing when it comes to industry, but there has been reports over the past couple of years. There has been different surveys done and looking into what those emerging job markets are. And I always ask these questions about the emerging job markets, and are our schools preparing those children for what those emerging markets in the Cayman Islands are? And so when the manifesto was put together and you're looking at hoping to revamp the education model per se so that it does meet that, was the PPM, to your knowledge, looking at, okay, this is what the results and data show for what the emerging trends are in the industries, job industry in Cayman, and this is what we need to implement in the school system?
Yeah, we conducted multiple focus groups. So we did get feedback from industry to guide our policies. I mean, one of the things that it isn't in the manifesto, but should I one day become Minister of Education, I would be pushing to get more interaction between the Labor Ministry and the Education Ministry. We can't have those two ministries operating in silos. Labor really determines the demand for skills, expertise in the labor market, and education is preparing young minds to one day fill that void. If we don't marry the two, your policies are going to be a bit disconnected. So you'll be educating on one set of policies, and then labor is expecting people who are prepared using another methodology, really. So you have to make sure that those two ministries, if they're not under the same umbrella, that they're completely joined up. Otherwise, you're going to get it wrong. The demand for labor comes from the labor market, and it just makes sense to have the two working together.
Right, I have some follow-up questions with that, but I think we have to go to the 8 a.m. news right now.
Okay.
So when we come back, hopefully we'll touch on education a little bit more, and we should be having some more PPM members join us in studio after the 8 a.m. news.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Your radio came out. Time check now, 8 a.m. This time check brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
Change is in the bag at Foster's. We've taken an important step in our commitment to a cleaner, greener Keyman by removing single-use plastic bags from our checkouts. Bag for better with our durable, cost-effective, reusable bags, thoughtfully designed to help reduce plastic waste and protect the natural beauty of our islands. By choosing reusable and using it often, you become part of the bigger picture, a community-driven effort to reduce waste and care for our environment. Every small choice adds up to something greater. So bring your bags back and we'll make a real impact together. Foster's, better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. It's a win for the Attorney General after an appeals case related to the country's permanent residency point system is heard by the Privy Council in the United Kingdom.
Appellants in this case applied for permanent residence upon the expiry of their work permits. Neither achieved the 110 points required.
Audio there from the February 3rd submissions made to the Privy Council. The Cayman Islands operates a statutory points-based system for determining applications made by foreign nationals for permanent residence. For an application to succeed, the applicant needs to get 110 points overall. This case involves two residents who had applied for PR but had less than 110 points, with both applications being refused in 2018 and 2019, respectively. Each case was then brought to the Immigration Appeals Tribunal and subsequently dismissed. The pair then issued consolidated claims in the Grand Court, which dismissed the claims, rejecting the submission that the statutory point system was incompatible with Section 9 of the Bill of Rights. Cayman's Court of Appeal dismissed the appeal, but made a declaration of incompatibility, granting the appellates leave to appeal against the declaration. Now, in its final judgment, the Privy Council has concluded that the Court of Appeal was, quote, wrong to decide whether Section 37 of the Immigration Act, which relates to the point system, was compatible with the Bill of Rights when, quote, even in the most liberal view, that question did not arise on the facts of the case under appeal to them. Therefore, the Privy Council has, quote, humbly advised His Majesty to allow the appeal. You can watch the proceedings and read the judgment by heading to jcpc.uk. Nearly 10% of all registered voters have already cast their ballot in the lead up to tomorrow's general election and referendum. CIGTV's Kafar Augustin has more.
The Elections Office has confirmed strong voter engagement with 2,382 ballots already issued through absentee postal voting and early mobile voting options. Breaking down the numbers, 1,345 electors have cast their ballots at mobile or static early voting stations across the islands as of Saturday, April 26. Additionally, 1,037 postal ballots have been issued to voters who will be off island on Election Day. The Supervisor of Elections, Mr. Wesley Howell, expressed satisfaction with the turnout, stating, and quote, "We are pleased to see the large number of voters taking advantage of the convenience and accessibility offered by postal and mobile voting," end quote. Officials note that this early turnout has already exceeded comparable figures from the last general election, indicating heightened public interest in the combined election and referendum. For those who haven't voted yet, here are some important reminders. If you're a postal voter, your completed ballot must be received by the returning officer no later than 6 p.m. on Election Day to be counted. Officials urge you to mail your ballot promptly. For everyone else, polls will be open this Wednesday, April 30th from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Don't forget to bring your photo ID.
Staying on theme, the Elections Office is also reminding candidates and referendum stakeholders that all campaign signs, billboards, banners, and similar promotional material needs to be down by tomorrow. Failure to comply with these requirements constitutes a, quote, serious election offense, carrying a fine of up to $500 or imprisonment of up to 6 months. These regulations are in place to, quote, protect the fairness, neutrality, and integrity of the voting process. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with David Harper.
The authorities in both Spain and Portugal have effectively ruled out a cyber attack as the cause of Monday's massive power failure throughout the Iberian Peninsula. Electricity is now almost totally restored, but there's continuing fallout from the chaos. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney has pledged to win the trade war and build the strongest economy in the G7 after leading his Liberal Party to election victory. The Liberals were well behind in the polls until President Trump's tariffs became the defining issue of the campaign. At least 9 people have been killed in sectarian clashes near the Syrian capital Damascus. The violence pitted armed members of the Druze minority against Sunni gunmen. Druze elders and the Islamist-led government have called for calm, but gunfire has continued. Amnesty International's annual report says the global system of law and rights is threatened by a multiplicity of assaults that have gathered pace since Donald Trump's return to office. Amnesty also accused Israel of genocide in Gaza, an allegation Israel has repeatedly denounced. The EU's law enforcement agency Europol says it's forming a multinational task force to tackle the problem of gangs recruiting children to commit violent crimes. Europol says gangs lure children, promising hefty cash rewards. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Bodden Town, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Bodden Town. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio. The following is a paid political announcement.
I hope you're ready for change, because I know I am. Heyman Rankin! Ah, yeah! Foot! Born and raised, came and strong. Northward roots where I belong. Heyman Rankin is the way to vote. Rankin! Heyman Rankin! Change we need. Rankin! Heyman Rankin! Change we need. Rankin is the medicine that Cayman needs right now. That Cayman needs right now. Rankin! Heyman Rankin! Rankin! The future of Bodden Town West is in your hands. The time for change is now.
The new KFC nuggets have arrived. That, unlike the no-gets, ours are handmade using 100% white meat, unlike the no-gets. At KFC, we hand-bread every day to achieve the perfect flavor. After you try our delicious and crispy nuggets in the original recipe, you'll never settle for less. KFC, the real nuggets. It's finger-licking good.
The following is a paid political message.
You pick him up, you lick him down, him bounce right back. What a hard man for did. You pick him up.
This is McKeever Bush inviting you to my last public meeting tonight by the West Bay Jetty by the public beach at 7:30 p.m. There will be guest speakers. Food will be provided. Please make an effort to attend. Facts, you will hear only facts.
You pick him up, you lick him down, him bounce right back. What a hard man for did. You pick him up.
That was a paid political message.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcade, where people come first.
Good morning, Cayman. Let's quickly take a look at your weather. Compliments of our friends at CG Brit K. Present temperature now 83 degrees Fahrenheit. It's partly cloudy with a lot of sun coverage on the outside. Winds are out of the east-northeast at 17 miles per hour. Relative humidity about 77%. The barometric pressure is at 29.97 inches and dropping. Fresh winds and moderate seas are expected to prevail through the next 24 hours as a ridge of high pressure remains across the northwest Caribbean. Our forecast calls for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers this morning. Temperatures will rise to the mid-80s with a heat index near 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be east to northeast at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Later on this evening, mainly fair skies, 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the upper 70s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, increasing and becoming 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts across Cayman Brac and Little Cayman overnight. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. High tide will be coming up at 10:02 this morning. It's going to be low at 4:37 this afternoon, high at 11:36 tonight. The outlook is for similar weather conditions through Thursday evening. That, my friends, is your latest weather.
I was undercover and had just recovered the stolen artwork, but...
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with managing my insurance?
Well, long story long. I found the art thief in France, but ended up becoming somewhat of a local celebrity. So I had to stick around for a while. But I was able to handle all my insurance needs with CG's online portal.
The online portal. Safe, convenient, simple. CG Brit K. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Brit K, where people come first.
Big decisions need real data. Before we vote on April 30th, we deserve to know the full picture.
Cayman is being asked to approve a cruise berthing facility, but key details remain unclear. Where will it go? What is the actual cost? How will it impact local businesses and jobs? What we do know is that cruise corporations already keep 70% of passenger spending, and a pier won't change that. Before we commit to something this big, we need more data. Vote no on April 30th.
Cayman's economy should work for Caymanians, not cruise corporations. Vote no to cruise berthing infrastructure.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, Eastenders. This is Roydell Carter, your candidate for East End Member of Parliament. I am extending an invitation to you and your family to attend my final campaign meeting and rally on Monday night, April 28th at 7:45 p.m. at Paccasac East End, opposite Pirates Cove. Come on out and support me in this final campaign meeting and rally so that we can bring about the change that East End deserves. Let's get it done. See you there. Bold leadership, bold initiatives, and bold results. On April 30th, East End, vote number 2, Roydell Carter.
Roydell number 2. Integrity, commitment shining through. No flip-floppers, no puppets here. It's Roydell Carter, loud and clear.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
All right, once again, good morning, my friends. Taking a look at the traffic in the Georgetown area. Traffic's flowing smoothly along Shetton Road, similar at Eastern Avenue, Godfrey Nixon Way, and leading out to the Butterfield roundabout. Traffic, a little bit of northward traffic still, but not too bad as you make your way into Georgetown via which way you're coming from. Northside Road, Dorsey Drive, seen light traffic as well. Coming back into the Georgetown area, out to Seafarers Way, Southwood Street, very light traffic. Don't see any cruise ship in ports. Bit of traffic coming off SLE Tibbetts, just heading back to the Butterfield roundabout. And a bit of eastward bound traffic. Northside Road headed to Dorsey Drive. Of course, that will dissipate as the morning progresses. Halder Avenue, seen a bit of northward-bound traffic heading towards the C&B roundabout, and of course some bit of traffic coming off Bobby Thompson Way at the four-way stoppage as expected. Walkers Road, seeing some light traffic, especially getting closer to the main Georgetown area. And that is to be expected, but of course all clears up as later on this morning, probably about 30 minutes, 45 minutes max. Cayman Brack, a little Cayman. See very light traffic. We urge you to buckle up, stay safe, look out for pedestrians, those on e-scooters, e-bikes, motorbikes, bicycles. You buckle up and have yourself a fantastic day. Drive safely, my friends. Your traffic report brought to you by our good friends at Subway.
Hungry? Need Subway any time of the day?
Yeah.
We've got you covered. Subway at Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, and Countryside Shopping Village is open 24/7, serving up fresh, delicious subs anytime you need them. And for your weekend cravings, West Shore Center is also open 24 hours on Friday nights and until 1 a.m. on Saturdays, because it's never too late for a great meal. Skip the line and order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app, or get your favorites delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Fresh, fast, and always here when you need us. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Leon Gold, you can be the one for the people. Leon Gold, vote number 2. Leon is the one for you. Leon is the one for you. I said Leon is the one for you. So vote number 2. Graham said, I've heard up there the streets are made of gold. Leon Gold. And when you get there, there's a hand to hold. Cayman, I believe when your days down here all through, yeah, there's a place up there for people like you. Do the right thing. I know you're out there, so keep doing what you do. Cayman, there's a place up there for people like you.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and in studio we are talking with PPM candidates. We have for Savannah, Miss Donna Bush. We have for Newlands, Mr. Alva Suckoo, and just joining us is incumbent, and I know I'll probably get yelled at for saying this, but he has been one of my favorite parliamentarians because very accessible to me for I don't know how many years now, is for Georgetown East, Mr. Roy McTaggart. So thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you too, and I apologize for my tardiness this morning.
It's okay. No problem at all. No problem. Good
You're
to have you.
never tardy.
And as I said, one of my favorites because you have always been accessible. You're somebody that I could reach out to and ask questions to. You were always very responsive when we had you come on for Money Sense. Yes. You're always coming on for that. You've been a regular on OC's For the Record show. This is my first time having you on The Buzz, even though I know I've tried to rope you in before. Not necessarily doing the proper procedures, but
Yes.
I've tried. So good to have you here this morning.
And I'm glad to be here too, Kathy. Thanks for hosting us.
Yeah, no problem at all. Alva, I just want to turn back to you because when we were talking about the PPM manifesto and we were touching on education, and you had spoke about wanting more kind of collaboration between labor and education, right? The ministries there. So the question that I have is it more of, I think we have a lot of educational opportunities, especially when it comes to scholarships and students being able to go overseas and getting excellent education and to return to Cayman. But is it an education thing or is it more of a labor thing when they're coming that those jobs are not available to them?
And that's exactly what I think is happening when our young people return, train for a career, and there's no opportunity here for them. Maybe we have focused them in the wrong direction. If we were in tune with the demand for labor, and applying that to our education policies. So, for example, if the labor market demands 20 new lawyers a year, then we should be training 20 Caymanians to become lawyers. If we're not doing that, when they're just using it as an example, when the 20 accountants come back, there are no jobs for them. And that's a very broad example. But that's what I think is lacking, so that when we're preparing our young students, they're not looking elsewhere for their career. So when they come out, there's demand for them. And I mean, along with that comes a lot of other things that have to change within the labor market. You know, we really need to look at our work permit policies and how we're handling work permits. We have to not have such an open door policy on work permits going forward, because it's to the detriment of our young people. We need to ensure that, you know, if you're getting work permits, you're preparing young Caymanians as well and giving them opportunities. So those two ministries, those two disciplines have to be tied together. Otherwise, we'll continue to get the formula wrong. And I mean, that's my opinion. It's not in the manifesto yet, but that's one of the things I'm pushing for.
And I take that, Kathy, one step further. I think it's absolutely imperative that the immigration boards, through work, is made aware of who the Caymanians are that are returning from their education overseas or even locally, and are graduating or entering the labor market at any particular point in time, and try to, you know, marry them up with opportunities that are where, you know, work permits are being applied for. I know it doesn't happen right now, but I think it ought to be in something that is rectified quite quickly, so that you know, the boards are aware of the numbers of Caymanians and that are coming back home seeking employment, and use that process, the immigration process, to try and make sure that they are integrated into our community and are able to find jobs. There's no reason why that should not happen, but we hear time and time again. I was canvassing with a family last evening, and you know, they've got a young daughter that's returned a couple of years ago from university education overseas, and she's never been able to find you know, long-term employment in her, you know, career of choice. And I know that there are jobs in that market, that part of the economy where she should be able to find employment, but struggling. And it's got to be disheartening for young adults to be coming back and find that you know, that their employment prospects are so limited, and it's not because of lack of availability. There are other reasons there, I believe.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but when it's in the, and you can let me know if I'm wrong, or, you know, better inform me and our listeners, but I believe it was the law industry that a few years back said, okay, we can't be hiring people from overseas that have just gotten their law degrees to come out to Cayman to work in the firms here, that you must have I don't know if it was at least 5 years experience or 7, something like that.
Yeah.
5.
Is it 5 now?
Which allowed Caymanians that opportunity to get their foot in that door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I believe that the Legal Services Act may actually stipulate that that you had to have a minimum of either 3 or 5 years.
I think it's 3 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, experience, which ought to give, you know, real opportunity there too for Caymanians. But I do believe too that they are making a conscious effort to ensure that Caymanians who are graduating with law degrees here do get articles and are able to get the experience they need in order to qualify as an attorney at law and get that license to practice.
Right. And I think that was a great move, a smart move, because it did allow Caymanians that were finishing with their law degree that chance to get their foot in the door and to get that experience and move up.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you see something like that, like what I think the Legal Services Act is what you had called it?
Yeah.
Do you see something like that being applied to other industries in the Cayman Islands?
I mean, I think there's a need for it in certain areas, because you do have to give your people the opportunities. And if they're going to be competing with people from outside of Cayman who actually have the experience, then they're never going to get that experience.
Right.
So, we just have to make sure that they're prepared. They have the credentials, the education, the training, but give them the opportunities. That's how you build a country.
Okay. Now I know that we're going to have some other PPM candidates join us at 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
So being that this is my first time having Roy in studio with me on the Buzz, and I haven't spoken to you yet on this campaign trail, I would like to know for Georgetown East, what has changed in the 4 years that your constituents are needing, that you're trying to focus on and trying to help deliver should you be reelected?
Yeah, good question too, Kathy, and I thank you for that. The issues for them, that as far as I can see in the feedback I have had, are basically the ones that existed 4 years ago.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm just being honest here. For people in the east of my constituency, like in the Grand Harbour area, that issue with the clogging of traffic at the roundabout continues to it just has not been addressed by the NRA, and we don't yet have a solution in place. So that is something that I think we are going to have to address quite quickly and see what we can do to alleviate the situation there. You come down now into the to the middle of the constituency in the Randike area. Flooding is a major concern that they have whenever it rains, and there have been further developments that are slated and have started landfilling in that area that have simply exacerbated the problem. I mean, this past year, I've had occasions when there's been so much rain and the water is so high, I could not get down in there to visit constituents in my car for 3 days. And it's just, to me, it's something we have got to come to grips with and get a solution for them. Things that they have tried, the NRA, they've installed deep wells and pumps to try and pump the water out. But we found that when they were used this past year, I think it was in January when we had real heavy rains, those wells filled very quickly and the pumps were ineffective, so to speak. The only thing that helps them or saves them really is a culvert that exists in South Sound, which when that's open, the water drains out of the swamps and the Randike Halifax Road area into the South Sound Bay, and the water drains away quite quickly. So that is something that does work, but it's not the permanent solution, and that needs to be addressed. For the people in the South Sound area, they continue to have issues with traffic and speeding in particular. I've had occasion to call for RCIPS to really step up the monitoring of the traffic, and they are quite responsive when you call, but then over time it reduces, and they are, so that needs to be looked at again quite closely. And then in terms of the bottom end of it in the Fairbanks area, they have issues with what I think would describe as acquisitive crime. You have people that are just out looking for an open car door to maybe find something valuable in there that they can steal.
Every night where I live, Roy. Yeah. Every night.
That needs to have a further more police presence and patrolling in the area. Also needs some traffic calming devices in the Triple C school area and Les Ambiance. They did put those strips. I forget that go clack 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 clack.
we know we know what they are.
And the people immediately that caused an uproar from tenants and owners in Les Ambiance, and they promised to put what they call these tabletop traffic calming devices rather than what we would call true speed bumps. But so far they haven't dealt with that.
Okay.
So there is issues of traffic, South Sound, western end of the district, and then it all revolves around traffic, and particularly with Randyke and the flooding.
But you have been working on the flooding issue. That's something
Absolutely.
over the past 4 years
I've
you
spent
have
more
been
time on that in my 4-year term than anything else that I've done, because as soon as those rains start to come, I get the calls out of Randyke, and I can always count on certain constituents who will keep me appraised of what's going on, and I can get right on it. And I see that the NRA in particular now, they seem to have a program in place where they're going through and throughout the island to flush out all of the drain wells and stuff in advance of the rainy season, which I commend them for, because that, I think, should go some way towards helping to alleviate the draining of water out of Randyke. But again, it's not the total solution. Okay. So we need some things, and I've got, going to be talking further with the NRA when I get elected, and try to find a permanent solution for them.
Okay, now I want to pivot from that.
Yeah.
And I want to, because you, at one time you were minister, was it for finance or financial? Okay, for finance. So now we know that on April 10th, I think it was, there was that report published by the Ministry of Finance and Economics, and it was that pre-election economic and financial update, or AKA preview, right? And as Alva, you had mentioned, I think it was in the commercial break, you had mentioned it, how some people are incorrectly kind of looking at this report, but it is projected for the next 2 years, what government budgets, where the finances are at. And at the end of 2025, we're supposed to be at a $26 million deficit, and that's supposed to go even further by 2026. Yeah. And some people there's rumblings in the community that this is a PPM problem, when I was like, but they were part of the opposition. How are we even pitting this on the PPM? So can you at all enlighten us as to really the government that was in power, that how this happened and it wasn't a PPM thing?
Yeah, but I think the important word that we need to consider here in that document is that this is a projected loss. So when you read the preview and the forward, and they describe in there in detail the basis upon which the document is prepared, and they tell you that quite clearly that it is, based on a number of assumptions and projections that have been developed by the Ministry of Finance in preparing the document. So we are not in a deficit situation at this point in time. However, if their projections are accurate, then yes, we are going to end up the year with a deficit, and we have an opportunity immediately in the short term to address that, to ensure that it doesn't happen. And the real critical reason to try and deal with it now, Kathy, is that if we end up with a deficit, then we lose control. We've got to go to the UK government, cap in hand, asking them to approve our budget, the 2-year budget that will take effect on January 1st of 2026. I don't ever want to see us having to be in that position again. There's no reason. So in the concept and construct of a $1.1 billion budget, $26 million is not very much. We ought to be able to find savings in the existing budget in order to eliminate that deficit. I'm not in favor of raising taxes as a way of closing that loophole, that deficit. That's the first place people tend to look to and say, oh, we'll just raise taxes off the people. Not in favor of that unless it is absolutely necessary and we can't find the savings in expenditure. But I know we've got bloat in that budget, and so we ought to be able to find $26 million in order to ensure that does not happen. And you never know. At the end of the day, the revenues might be better than anticipated. They could be worse, but you don't know how the revenue side of the equation is going to unfold. And but we are now past the first quarter of the year, and the ministry once they've got those final numbers for March in first quarter in place, they can normally make a quite accurate prediction, forecast as well, as to what the year is likely to unfold. Because in the first 3 months of the year, we collect nearly 50% of our revenues, and that's because of SEMA and the huge sums of money that they take in the first 3 months for all the licensing fees and stuff that they collect. And so you got a pretty good indicator as to what the year is likely to be. And so I'm looking forward, and hopefully we'll see those figures very quickly if they haven't been published, and to see what the real effect is right now, and whether we do have a true potential deficit, or whether things could be moderating. I just don't know until you see the numbers.
Right. And your solution is more so look at the expenditure and how we can save there, as opposed to raising any taxes.
Absolutely. That has to be the first place.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much. I know we're a little late for the 8:30 commercial break, but I haven't spoken to you, so I had to get a couple questions out
And
to
I'm
you
happy
in particular.
to participate.
We do have some other candidates to bring in during this commercial break, so we're going to do that switch off, and we'll go to our break, and then I'll be back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
Hey, Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked. You can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents, browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students, just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more.
The following is a paid political message by the Progressives.
My fellow Caymanians, I ask you, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Do you feel more confident about the direction of Cayman? We have experimented enough. The PPM is proven, our solutions are practical, and our team is ready. The decision that you make on Wednesday, April 30th will live with us for the next 4 years. So I ask you to choose responsibly. Choose proven stable leadership. Vote PPM.
We're moving forward. We're moving forward. We're moving forward. See the light again.
That was a paid political message by the Progressives.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman is proud to continue to serve our island community. During the last Lionistic year, they successfully carried out community projects like the Prostate and Colon Cancer Awareness Campaign, site screenings, spelling bees, swim meets, and their community food pantry. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman looks forward to continuing their service during the 2024-2025 Lionistic year and for many more years to come. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman. Where there's a need, there's a lion, serving the community for over 50 years.
Say yes to progress, yes to jobs. Yes to peers that help our youths. Don't let fear decide the way. Vote yes to cruise on referendum day. Vote yes to cruise on referendum day. We give you honor and praise, adoration and glory.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite. Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there.
him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it.
Can you tell me what does a turtle do on his birthday? He celebrates. Celebrate your loved one's special birthday with a birthday shout-out live on For the Record with Mr. Orette Connor, only on Radio Cayman. WhatsApp your loved one's name to 925-3261. That's 925-3261. Radio Cayman's birthday shout-outs live on For the Record with Mr. Orette Connor every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Brought to you by Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands. From Tortuga Wholesalers. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Yum. Daily school menus are available. YumCayman.ky.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Brought to you by UHealth International, University of Miami Health System. International patients go to UHealth International for consultations with renowned physicians, advanced treatment technologies, leading-edge medical therapies, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures. Whatever your particular reason for going to UHealth International, you will receive customized medical care delivered within a compassionate, multicultural setting. The care you need when you need it.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller, and in studio, I'm happy to also welcome. We have two new candidates, at least for me, that are part of the PPM. We have Craig Frederick, also known as Festa. Good morning. You're running for Georgetown South.
Yes, ma'am.
And we also have Miss Pearlina McGaw-Lumsden, who is running for Georgetown West. And
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. That is where I live, and I have seen Pearlina on the ground hitting the neighborhoods up, so I can tell you that she's active out there. I know that I've seen that.
At least 4 or 5 times I've seen you. Yes, yes.
I think twice, but maybe 3 times. But yes, but I'm seeing you.
Yeah.
So I would say that you're one of the only ones that I'm seeing in my neighborhood. So
okay, good.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that, right?
Sure,
the effort is definitely there, and
that's the whole idea.
Also welcoming. I know I feel like you just looked up at me through your glasses. I'm not. How could I forget you? How could I forget the Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism and Ports? And there's more added. I forget. I'm sorry, but we have Mr. Kenneth Bryan.
Kenneth Bryan is good.
Incumbent as well for Georgetown Central.
Correct. Thank you so much, Kathy. It's a pleasure to be here, and good morning to our listening audience, all of those in the Cayman Islands, but specifically for Georgetown Central. Special good morning to you. It's a pleasure to be on here. Really excited with our team to tell the country that we are so ready. Thursday morning is going to be a special day for all of us because it's the first day we make the first step moving forward in a positive direction to address the issues that we're having. And there's so many of them, but I'm happy to tell the Cayman Islands people and its voters that we have the right plans, the right individuals that have the commitment and the qualities necessary to address them in a timely manner. I was just listening to our future Minister of Finance talking about the finances of the country and our preparation of already planning to make sure things are on board, even though they're just projections. But enough about me, because most of the country have heard. I'm just so honored to have 2 very strong Georgetown candidates with me. I feel so much better when I'm not by myself. So I want to give more opportunity for my colleagues to speak. So hand it over to Pearlina, because I know she's been working so hard in Georgetown West.
She has. Well, thank you so much again for having us, Kathy. It's a privilege to be here. And of course, a special good morning to my constituents in Georgetown West. Honestly, it's been an honor and a privilege to be in everyone's homes this last 2 to 3 months. They're quite warm and welcoming. And to be honest, we're just ready for a new day with PPM taking the country forward. And like the deputy leader has mentioned, we have so much plans for this country, and every single issue we plan to tackle. I know there are a number of issues that the country is facing, and also for my constituency, I know there are a number of issues that they want me to address, such as flooding, and I hope to accomplish whatever I can possibly do within the next 4 years, absolutely. And we look forward to just serving every single constituent of this country, no matter what the issue is. We're here to listen, we're here to learn, and we're here to move the country forward.
So to give people a little bit more of an idea about you, Pearlina.
Sure.
So from your experience when it comes to your career, your professional experience. If you could tell us a little bit about that and how you think that translates into how you would have a leadership role in government should you be elected.
Absolutely. I think most people will just know that I'm more community oriented. As you know, I have the Women's Empowerment Branch, which is actually launched into creating and empowering women on the island to be leaders, to be future entrepreneurs, and to obviously being confident in themselves. More importantly, I run a company of 140 employees, as you would know, and that has created a leadership role for me to obviously try to step into whatever role that the government sees fit for me to take in order to move the country forward. Coupled with, of course, my degrees. I have a sports management degree and master's. I have a sports management as a master's in law and a bachelor's from Harvard University for accounting. So whatever role I think the country or the leaders see that I'm fit for, I am more than happy to take that mantle and push the country forward. I know that we have the most capable team of the slate that's running with regards in this country, and the many different parties that are running. I'm confident in them. I'm confident in myself. And the idea is, at the end of the day, you have to make a decision when it comes to your candidate. Listen to them. Hear what they have to say, and know who has the potential that can push the country forward, whether that be from a policy standpoint or a community standpoint. I think I'm so versed in so many different areas, and I'm more than happy to take the lead, whatever that may
be. All right. Now, for Georgetown West.
Yes.
And so I know some of the issues that are going on there,
course.
but what are you hearing to be some of the biggest issues and the stuff that has not been addressed in the past 4 years that you hope to tackle?
I think most things have been addressed. I think I want to take it to the next level. And most of the GTW constituents are addressed in more from a nationalistic standpoint, and that's the honest God's truth. Their most concern is housing and cost of living. From a constituency standpoint, the number one thing is flooding. And I think in the previous broadcast, you would have heard that also from Mr. Roy McTaggart. And for a short-term plan, how I plan to address it is either widening the wells, digging deeper, and maintaining them. That seems to be the three-step approach that we can obviously try to do to try to alleviate as much flooding as we possibly can. And with hurricane season definitely approaching within next month, I intend to be in close contact with NRR to see what we can possibly do to try to alleviate and to improve the quality of life when it comes to my constituents. That's the number one issue, to be honest, that I plan to push forward and try to address that as quickly as possible, because it's so required. And then from a nationalistic standpoint, again, it's housing. We've addressed that in our manifesto, step by step, how we plan to address housing in the Cayman Islands and cost of living as well.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to turn to you, Craig. How are you doing this morning?
I am good. I'm excited. I am ready. I am nervous. I am everything.
You didn't say tired. You said everybody else is tired, so I'm happy for you.
No. I'm used to going 24 hours.
Yes, this I know, yes.
So, but no, it like Pearlina said, well, first of all, I would like to send out my condolences and my heartfelt, wishes to the Whitelock family, especially Natasha, for the loss of her brother yesterday. So my heart goes out to you, Natasha. But with regards to what I have experienced over the last 8 weeks, it has been absolutely a life-changing experience. It has definitely changed the person I am for the better. To be able to sit in so many living rooms, kitchens, back porches, front porches, stand up people's driveway, and just hearing so many hundreds of different stories, Cayman stories that, I would never have had this opportunity if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now. So I say that to say that I hear you, Georgetown South. I feel you, Georgetown South, because I am a part of Georgetown South, still am, by the way, for the past 4 to 6 years. And my ambition, my strength and everything is in making life better for my Georgetown South constituents.
What are, as I ask everybody for their constituency, what are your most pressing issues that you hope to address should you be elected?
I would say the two most pressing issues would be policing of Georgetown South, especially having a stable beat officer for the neighborhoods to be able to create that relationship between the police and the community, and to be able to give that presence in the whole of Georgetown South, and actually honestly should be in the whole of the Cayman Islands. And I would also say one thing that's very dear to me, the opportunities for young Caymanians. Having many discussions with parents about that have their kids in universities that just don't see the opportunities available to their children to come back home after 4 or 6 long years in college, getting that paper, as we say, to advance yourself, and not having the opportunities here in Cayman. And not just the university students, but to also be able to uplift those that aren't, that doesn't want to do the tertiary education, that are better with their hands, to support them and encourage them that, you're not any less of a person or any less potential than someone that goes to university. And I think that has been missing for the most part in Cayman. And I've given the story to many people that I know some very successful plumbers and electricians, especially electricians. And I'll go and call out one of my people right now, John Paul Hurlston. I mean, he's the poster child for what you can accomplish in becoming an electrician. He now owns his own electrician company, and John Paul lives in a neighborhood that I'm only dreaming of one day being able to live in that neighborhood. And I say that to say that there are opportunities, whether it's from a college perspective or a vocational technical perspective, and we should support everything. So that there, and just my main emphasis is taking care of our Cayman future.
Okay.
So
I know that entrepreneurship is also one of the key things along with education.
Yes.
A little bit of changes to the education system in the manifesto that the PPM has put out in the recent weeks. We got to go to hopefully a quick commercial break right now, and then it's a bit of a late one, and then we'll come back and we'll continue this discussion.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Suicide is a deeply painful issue that affects many families here in the Cayman Islands. It is not a sign of weakness, but rather an indication of suffering that deserves our attention and care. Mental health is an essential part of our overall well-being, yet it is often overlooked and stigmatized. The Cayman Islands National Party believes that every person facing mental health challenges deserves support and compassion, and we are committed to fostering a culture where it is safe to speak up and ask for help without judgment. Prevention begins with awareness, education, and open dialogue. Therefore, we encourage everyone to check in on your friends, loved ones, and colleagues, and to seek help if you are struggling. Remember, you are not alone. There is hope and there is help. If you or someone you know is in crisis, please reach out to K-Mind, our national mental health helpline, the Alex Panton Foundation, or any mental health professional for support. Together, we can break the silence, end the stigma, and build a community of healing. This message is brought to you by the Cayman Islands National Party.
The following is a paid political message.
Hi, this is Ralston Anglin, inviting you to my final campaign rally on Tuesday, April 29th at the Cayman Turtle Center's parking lot at 7 p.m. Come on out for an evening filled with lively endorsements, entertainment, and light refreshments. Please vote number 1 Ralston Anglin for West Bay North.
That was a paid political message.
The Economics and Statistics Office is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 13th. The surveys collect information to answer questions like, how did the economy perform in 2024? In 2024, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms, or for more information, visit eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and in studio with me this morning we have from the PPM, we have incumbent and candidate for Georgetown Central, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. We have for Georgetown West, a new candidate for the PPM. We have Miss Pearlina McGaw-Lumsden. And for Georgetown South, we also have new candidate, Craig Frederick. So good morning once again. I know that there was a couple things that, Mr. Bryan, I think you wanted to touch on.
Yes, Kathy, thank you again. As you know, today is the last day, and tomorrow the country has the opportunity to change its future. Some big decisions tomorrow, but it's a great opportunity to change the future in a positive way. And as usual, the night before, there's a rally of camaraderie. All of our people coming together, because of the PPM, we're a big family. And we have a lot of PPM people all across the island. And we're inviting every single soul tonight to come out to our last rally, which is going to be at the Compass Green. It's going to be at 7 p.m. We're going to have some surprise speakers. So I don't want to give it away, because that's why they're surprises. And we want to invite everybody to come out. Both of the other groups had their rallies last night.
That's right.
And we want to show this country, send a clear message that PPM will be the next government. So for all of those who are supporters of the progressives, I need you to call every single person you know and get out there tonight. So by tomorrow morning, everybody will be talking about, oh my God, did you see that rally last night? Because it gives an indication of the direction of this country. So I want everybody, including people in West Bay,
yes,
to come on out. And if you're in Bracken, you want to come on down, we'll welcome you too. If you're not going to wear sleep, you sleep at my house. Come down to this rally, because this is going to be the opportunity to give the closing remarks as to our plans in respect to the next 4 years for the people. So that's going to be tonight at 7 p.m. at the Compass Greens, where most of the events happen. But next I want to talk about the polling stations. The most important thing is to get everybody out. Not everybody has access to rides or may want some assistance getting to the polls. But you need to know where the polls are first, because each one of us have an opportunity to come pick you up in our various constituencies. But the location for the polling station for Georgetown West is Cayman Prep School, correct?
Mm-hmm, correct.
And for Georgetown,
the one on Smith Road.
The one on Smith Road.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
And that's the primary one.
Yes, the primary one.
Primary school, prep school, for Georgetown West. And for Georgetown South, it's John Gray High School Gymnasium. Not the high school itself, the gymnasium. And for Georgetown Central, it's the town hall and the library. So depending on where your name falls, you either be in the library or the town hall. And both of them are right next to each other.
Right.
So no need to panic. Once you go to one, if you're not in that one, they'll just say, walk across the street right there, and you're into the other one. Because there's 4 polling stations where your name falls in 1,470 people. The polls open at 7 a.m. and they close at 6 p.m. We would really encourage everybody to get down there early and go enjoy the rest of your day, get rested up, because we're going to have a big party tomorrow night. So we want you to come out really, really early. In respect to Georgetown Central, if you need a ride to the polls, you can call myself at my office at 936-4040. That's 936-4040. Or you can call me on my personal number, and my number hasn't changed for 14 years. 926-0005. 926-0005. If I don't answer right away, leave me a message or send me a text or a WhatsApp, and I will get back to you in time to make sure they can get you to the polls. But I know that there's some information from...
Yes, and for Georgetown West, my personal cell number, of course, is 925-6151. The office cell number is 326-8350. So call either to get rides to the polls.
Okay.
And for Georgetown South, you can get me at 526-2006. That's my number. Or all y'all have Miss Barbara's number. She's right there by my side. So you can reach out to Miss Barbara to arrange any transportation to the polling station tomorrow. And like Kenneth say, let's get out there early. Let's get this over. Let's enjoy the rest of the day and rest up for that big red party that's going to be happening tomorrow night.
And you know how to throw a party. So.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Actually, both. Perlina and you both know how to throw a party.
So, before we move on,
we got to go to the 9 a.m. headline news, actually. The slightly after 9 a.m. headline news. So we'll come back to your point right after that.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
The Elections Office reminds candidates and referendum stakeholders that all campaign signs, billboards, banners, and similar promotional material needs to be removed by tomorrow. Failure to comply with these requirements constitutes a, quote, serious election offense that could carry a fine of up to $500 or 6 months in jail. Mark Carney's Liberal Party wins the Canadian election in a remarkable turnaround for the center-left party. In his victory speech, Carney tells supporters, quote, President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us, and that will never happen. It remains too close to call whether he will secure a majority in Parliament. If not, he'll have to rely on other parties to govern. The defeated Conservative Party leader, until recently expected to become the next prime minister, is projected to lose his seat. The Liberal Party were well behind in the polls just 3 months ago before Carney replaced Justin Trudeau as leader, and U.S. President Donald Trump upended relations and became the defining issue in the campaign. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are in the last half-hour stretch. It's the last half hour for me that I'm going to be talking anything about the elections, which election day is tomorrow for the Cayman Islands. I have in studio with me from candidates with the PPM for Georgetown South. We have Craig Frederick, candidate for the PPM in Georgetown West. We have Miss Pearlina McGaw-Lumsden, and incumbent deputy premier, deputy party leader for the PPM we have for Georgetown Central, Mr. Kenneth Bryan.
Thank you, Kathy. My colleagues had a little opportunity to say about things that they're prioritizing in their constituencies, and I want to take this opportunity to talk about jobs. For far too long, the immigration system has been outmanaged and not controlled enough that people are abusing the system. And we are a people that are very welcoming, but we have to start tightening up on our immigration system because it's affecting our labor market. The labor market means Caymanians are not getting job opportunities. And if they don't have jobs, they can't feed themselves, they can't pay rent, they can't pay light, they can't take care of their children. one of the biggest cries in Georgetown Central is jobs. It kills me every time when I see persons hired, particularly in the civil service that are non-Caymanian, when I see so many of my Caymanians who are unemployed. And I'm happy to say that within our progressive manifesto and our commitment, not just a manifesto, not just a booklet, everyone on the ticket is committed to balancing the immigration environment to ensure that it protects Caymanian jobs. Too many young people go away to school, come back, can't get a job. I know my colleagues were talking about it earlier. But there's so many people who are here right now that are already back or who can't get a job, period, that they end up being just more burdens on their family or having to go to the state for assistance. And these increase the cost. Not only does it demoralize our own people to say this is their country, this success that we see is for them, and they can't get a piece of the pie, it has to stop.
100%.
So one of the number one priorities for me, for my constituency, is getting every single able-bodied Caymanian in Georgetown Central working. There's more jobs than there is Caymanians, so there's no more excuses. So there's going to be a stern approach to that. In respect to housing, which is a national issue, every one of my colleagues talk about it, but we have a strategic plan and a multifaceted strategic plan about dealing with housing, from single dwelling to working with partnerships with other developers, giving them the right necessary incentives to build low affordable housing and different type of model housing, because everybody is not going to buy a single dwelling home with a piece of property. Some people are fine with apartment buildings. We also have to be more strategic about the space that we're using within any one acreage. We can go up a little bit higher. Some people are fine with an apartment. Some people are elderly and single, and they may just want a studio, right? Give them different offerings at different price points. And we also have to be better at increasing the supply of land available, and that's why the road going east is so important. The supply and demand principle is essential in the cost of housing, and that's another reason why we have to manage the immigration. We've moved from, in 2019, at just under 70,000 people to now over 86,000 people. That's 16,000 people jump. And our housing infrastructure has not jumped along with it in that short period of time. And that's why we're having a housing crisis. In respect to the immigration components, we also want to address the point system, because the demand for buying house and land to get points is also putting more pressure and burden on the housing market. So when we address the demand problems and increase the supply, the housing market will level back out where Caymanians can be in a place to get an affordable home. So we have an approach from the GGHAM, build on your own land, rent to own options, different types of home offerings, whether it's studio, whether it's what do you call those, duplexes or single dwelling homes. You can't just offer one thing. The other part is the National Housing Development Trust. We have to fund it properly. If you get $10 million and you're building each one of those houses for just over $200,000, the maximum you can get is probably 5 houses per million, 50 houses. There's currently 700 people waiting on a list to get affordable housing. It's just not enough. So we have to do it government. We have to quadruple our efforts there. We have to work with private sector, and we have to change the models so the price point can be addressed, as well as address the supply and the demand of it. And we think that those approaches collectively within a 12-month period will start to see the effects of it. So I want Caymanians out there, particularly those younger ones, to know that the progressives have a plan to make sure you have a piece of your country. So that was jobs, and it's housing. The next thing in my constituency is our seniors, particularly when it comes to healthcare costs and retirement benefits. Our country, many of our people do not have enough pensions to retire in a cost of living like today. We're going to address the pension system to make sure that it's adequate enough that every Caymanian can have enough money to survive at the price point. But most importantly, tie it to inflation. So if the prices go up, they don't have to go beg a politician like, "Oh, increase it for me, please," because that's what ends up happening. It will automatically increase based on the legislative reform that we're going to do. So you never have to worry about which administration is in. You'll have enough pension to survive. And next thing is our health care. I'm going to give you right over.
Actually, I want to touch on that one.
Okay, go ahead.
The healthcare, the PPM has come up with a plan to not just address the healthcare, but in essence, address the cost of living by one small token of Cayman kind, by being able to offer free health and basic health insurance for kids, Caymanian kids under the age of 18, or if they're in university. And that there is a huge assistance when it comes to the cost of living. And I can tell you that from personal experience, where my wife, her insurance was $345 for just her. Adding our 8-year-old, that insurance jumped to over $900 a month. So that $600 that we say we will take care of our kids has now affected the cost of living for our Caymanians. And also we are talking about being able to help our elders when it comes to health insurance, because it's like it's like when someone hits 65, we're telling them, just go in the corner and die. We forget about them. We aren't looking out for the needs of the people that has been taking care of needs their whole life.
Right.
And to have a elder word that's collecting pension that isn't enough in Cayman, and out of that pension they're spending $1,000 for insurance and also meds and what have you, that we are ready to tackle that problem. And that is what we are about with the PPM. It's about our people. The first word in our party is people. And that is what we are all about, doing our best for our people.
Your people are your greatest asset and your greatest investment.
So, Kathy, there's another point, which is, unfortunately, there's a lot of people in our country who are finding it hard to survive. And then we have the Department of Financial Assistance, which is supposed to be there to help you when things are difficult and when you can't make ends meet, even if you're working. And there's a threshold right now of $3,000. If you make more than that, you can't get any help. That has to change. It's something I wanted to change myself, but unfortunately, some of my colleagues quit on the job and we weren't able to address it. But I can promise you it's something we'll address right away, because the truth is, $3,000 in Cayman is not a lot of money.
No.
Right? So we have to recognize that there's going to be people making $4,000 or $5,000 and still struggling. So we have to adjust the needs assessment unit, or but now known as the Department of Financial Assistance, in our regulation, in our policy, to ensure and help persons. Too many people are talking about being turned away, being benefits being taken away because of the threshold. We have to recognize the threshold has to be bigger. So those are some of the key areas. But holistically, the People's Progressive Movement, particularly under our leader, the Honorable Joseph Hugh, we have collectively come together and have the various assets amongst our team to address all the issues that the people are facing, from housing, social, finances, tourism, business, environment, traffic, healthcare, cost of living. We did this amazing video just the other day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it worked out so perfectly, where all the skill sets within our team, with experience and newcomers and new ideas, that we already tagged the people who are needs to be with what area of interest or what ministry and what portfolios. So I am really, really excited about not only having the answers to the problems, but have a team that has the competence and the commitment to deliver with a wide range of skill sets. So hands down, on my heart, I am happy to say to the Cayman people, the People's Progressive Movement team is the right team to address the problems in this country. That because times are going, with the geopolitics of things globally, we have to have a strong, committed team there. And the PPM has the best team to make your life better for the next 4 years and beyond. So I'm really excited about it. But I know that we only got 15 minutes left.
I love that you know that it's time for a commercial break. And I'm going to take this little chance right here to interject and say, there's two other words that I would have used when you were just describing the PPM. So stability is definitely one of them, right? This is the longest running party. Stability, and then the continuity that the PPM does. So there is succession planning that we've seen with the PPM. And I'm just bringing this up to say we have had a lot of changes in government over these past 4 years, and the people have called for a stability. They want something stable.
Correct.
Yeah. When COVID hit, I think we all knew how that kind of threw us in the trenches a little bit. We didn't know what was going on. Yeah. And I realized at that point in my life how much structure was important to me. Even though I was a bit of a wild child and all the rest. Structure, I realize it's... I totally am. We know that.
But one element to add to that as well with regards to PPM is that we are a compassionate group of individuals. And that's so important because you, not only do you need stability, but you need people who have compassion and understand what the country is going through with all the crises that the deputy leader has mentioned. We need that to push the country forward for sure.
Yeah, I feel you on all those terms. I think that's something that is our great strengths towards the PPM.
It sounds, Kathy, like you already know the best answer.
I am a civil servant, and I'm not. I don't have any opinions towards.
I don't want to expose you in any capacity, so let's not go there. But the good news is that people are very aware of that sentiment of stability, discipline, competence, experience, and they want that. And I think the people know that. No, is the progressive perfect? Far from it. Nobody's perfect, right? Yeah. No administration is perfect,
Everybody's
right?
flawed.
And most administrations probably get the maximum of 85% of the things they say they want to delivered. But I can promise you it's the best of what is out there from independents. The other two parties, the PPM has the best state and the best opportunity to improve the lives of your people.
All right, we got to go to a commercial break right now, and then we'll be in our last almost 15 minutes of the show.
Yes.
The following is a paid political announcement by the Caymanian Community Party.
Greetings, Cayman. I am Andre Ebanks, the leader of the Caymanian Community Party. We know what we have today is not working. It's high time for a government that will work for the many, not the few. Go look at our manifesto, votetccp.ky, for a true, realistic blueprint on how to lower the cost of living and create a stronger and fairer Cayman for this generation and generations to come. The choice is clear, Cayman. On 30 April, vote TCCP straight. God bless.
That was a paid political message by the Caymanian Community Party. The following is a paid political message.
Hi, this is Ralston England, inviting you to my final campaign rally on Tuesday, April 29th at the Cayman Turtle Center's parking lot at 7 p.m. Come on out for an evening filled with lively endorsements, entertainment, and light refreshments. Please vote number 1, Ralston England for West Bay North.
That was a paid political message.
The 7 a.m. Sports Report brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to the Buzz. This is your host, Kathy Miller. And in studio, we are in the last 12 minutes or so of the Buzz. And right before Election Day, which is tomorrow, I have in studio with me candidates with the PPM. And we have from Georgetown South, Craig Frederick, Georgetown West, Pearlina McGaw-Lumsden, and Georgetown Central, incumbent and deputy premier and deputy party leader for the PPM, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. All right, so we had a WhatsApp comment come in. I think we've had a few from earlier, but I'm going to address this one. And this one says, as a registered voter, you guys have a great plan. But what I would also ask for you guys to look deeply into is the preschool fees of $1,150 a month. Ridiculousness.
You know what? Interesting enough, that has come up amongst our canvassing and many other constituencies of another factor of high cost of living, particularly for families. And it's something that we said that we're going to look into to see whether there's a special grant we can give to Caymanians families that have children in preschool, because that some people are just making that amount for their salary. But we do have early in schooling at some of the primary schools, but maybe it's time government start to look into this area or give a subsidy to families or work with particular preschools to have a reduction for this. It's something that another cost reduction strategy. I want to quickly say something about the leadership of this country. Leadership is going to be essential moving forward. And I found it interesting that the National Party has just announced that their leader said He's the interim one. So we now don't know who the leader would be if they were to be elected. So, and you have
He has.
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So we talked about stability,
Yeah.
right? We talked about experience. We talked about
Proven.
commitment and proven. The issue there is nobody wants surprises. Kim-Ann is fed up with anxiety and surprise. I need to know what I'm going to get. And now we have one of the parties saying, well, they're the interim leader. The other party,
No
they
one
don't have a
knows.
deputy. And there's speculation of the other former leader being the actual leader behind the scenes. And I really don't want to plug on that. But the point I'm making here is you have our leader, the Honorable Joseph Hugh, who has experience. He has the exposure, not only locally as a businessman and internationally. He was a part of the negotiations with the constitutional reform in the last time when Sir Alan McLaughlin was away. So I know he has experience. And me as his deputy, supporting him and the team, I think the combination of, for one, you know who your leader will be and you know who your deputy premier will be. Those two things give comfort. I know what I'm going to get. And Joey and I think, bring a really good balance approach that will address all the issues in one way, shape, or form. And for those who have been watching my political career, I trust the Honorable Joseph Hugh. I know he's capable, and the people within the industry knows his many decades of being a business person, but also in the community, particularly when it comes to sports and football. He's such a big football fanatic. I think that combination is something people should be very happy about, and particularly supported by the many members of our party. It's going to be a good government for everybody. So I want to just bring that up.
If I'm correct, I believe he was voted as chamber president just a few days before Hurricane Ivan
Correct.
hit.
Yes.
So that's a pretty crazy time for the Cayman Islands, and to be able to help navigate all the chamber businesses, the members of the Chamber of Commerce.
Another example of stability through difficult times.
Yes.
Right? And that's one of the things I want people to know, that no matter how difficult it's going to get, we're not going to quit, and we have the experience to handle the choppy waters.
Yes.
That's what you should be thinking.
And I also want to touch on the second thing that Kenneth just said is the experience. I mean, what we have is so balanced between, we have
The newcomers.
we have the experience of former ministers within the PPM party, but also that fresh new six faces to PPM to give that balance, and on top of that, 5 females. Whereas we are fighting this competition or fighting this election against a party that has no governmental experience whatsoever. And to me, that's actually more frightening than the PAC government we had 4 years ago, because at least PAC had some people that had the experience to run a country. But to now say that we are going to put fresh, straight off the road politicians in as our members of parliament is a frightful thing, because we need people like Juliana O'Connor-Connolly that knows exactly how to operate a country. People like Kenneth Bryan, like Joey Hugh, like Dwayne Seymour, like Roy McTaggart, that has that experience, and that, as Kenneth said earlier, is going to be so vital, especially with the world temperature that we have right now. And that is what Cayman needs, and what it needs is get rid of the horse trading. Talk to your brothers, talk to your sisters, talk to your cousins, even the people you don't like, all over this island, because if we want to move forward successfully, we need a cohesive government, a government that isn't a coalition government where the leaders constantly looking over their shoulder in caucus because they're not sure what that other side of the coalition is going to do. And we, the PPM candidates, have put forward 13 extremely capable candidates across the Cayman Islands to represent and take this country forward as a cohesive government.
And
in summary, I think at the end of the day, because we're facing such a crisis on so many different areas, whether it's environmental, like the deputy leader has mentioned, or whether it's housing, traffic, we need continuity, and that is something that the PPM is offering. Continuity with the 5 or 6 individuals, the senior persons that we would say that's obviously on that slate. We need that to continue to push the country forward, and that's so crucial in this day and age with regards to the political arena, the country's arena, whatever arena or whatever lens you're looking through. We need that for the betterment of this country.
Should not every candidate from the PPM be elected? Are you prepared to? Don't even. Are you prepared to work with whoever else might be elected to help form that majority government?
Well, first thing, my response would be we're very confident that we have a strong team that the public also has confidence in. So we do believe that matter of fact, we're the only group that has more than enough to form the government. The other ones will have the horse trade. So I have faith in the good people of the Cayman Islands that we will have the majority to move forward. But we're mature enough and disciplined enough and have enough experience to know that we will do whatever it takes to make sure that the country has the best options for it.
Is there any truth behind some candidates apparently going to the PPM and saying maybe they're not feeling so confident and perhaps asking, hey, if they aren't elected, is there somewhere that you could put them in a position of leadership? Is there any truth to that? I've been hearing that.
Not sure exactly about that one in respect to hearing it. We have a leader, we have a team, and we're not going to expose this country to horse trading.
I don't mean PPM candidates. I mean from other parties and independents.
Who wants to come work with us?
Should they're not feeling confident that they're going to.
I'm not surprised by that at all. And we are definitely willing to work with other people to come and join, because at the end of the day, we have to bring this country back together afterwards. And if they feel the confidence that most people feel about being a part of the People's Progressive Movement, then we'll embrace them. But understand it's going to be led by the People's Progressive Movement and its leader, because we want to make sure that comfort that people are asking for of continuity, commitment, capability, experience, and stability is going to be there. That's what the people need, but also to deliver all the rest of the stuff. I want to bring us back, because I know we're wrapping up, to our final rally tonight, which is going to be at 7 p.m., which is also going to be located at the Compass Greens. Bring everybody that you can. We want you to wear red. We want
Even
you to get your PPM shirts. We want you to make sure we're sending a clear message to the rest of the country. For those, because there's some people who are still undecided. Come tonight, particularly you. Come tonight and hear the vision, the passion, the commitment. Grab the candidate that's in your constituency and say, I want to have a quick word with you, Festa.
Yes.
And pull him to one side and look at him in his eyes. Go and speak to Pearlina and say, Miss Pearlina, I want to know what you're going to do for my kids. Come tonight. If you're not sure yet, and those ones who are sure, even if you thought you're going to vote for somebody else, come here one last time. And I will prove to you, me and my team and my leader, why we are the best group of individuals to lead this country. So if you want better housing, vote PPM. You want lower cost of living, vote PPM. You want safer communities, vote PPM. You want a better managed population and immigration system, vote PPM. If you want a better pension system so you can survive, vote PPM. Stronger education system, vote PPM. More employment and jobs for your children, vote PPM. If you want less traffic in your communities, vote PPM. And if you want better governance of your country, vote for PPM.
And if you want
strong, proven, stable leadership,
vote PPM.
All right, we got a couple minutes left, so if there's any other closing thoughts that you want to share with our listeners, now's the time.
I don't have anything to add other than the fact that, like we said before, we're just in a crisis overall, and we need to elect leaders that are compassionate. We need to elect leaders that are stable and that have the experience. And the only individuals that can lead this country is PPM. I have full confidence in this team, full confidence that we're going to win and that we're going to push the country forward. So at the end of the day, when it comes tomorrow, bright and early, rise up, go to the polls at around 7, 8 o'clock, vote early, have the rest of the day off, but vote red, vote PPM.
And for me, because I am in a dogfight, just want to reach out to my Georgetown South constituents and plead to them that you vote for not just the person, but the person that is a part of a team that is ready to lead, that is ready to move this country forward. It's not about someone that honestly has to drive 35, 40 minutes just to come look for you from the other side of the island, or someone that you don't know where they stand. You know where Craig Frederick stands, and I stand with the team that is ready to take him on forward, ready to right this Cayman ship. And I beg you, you don't need to look down any further than the number 1 on your ballot tomorrow at John Gray High School, and just put that X right next to Craig Frederick.
All right, thank you everybody for joining me this morning on The Buzz. It was a pleasure to have you on and to hear, especially from Pearlina and Craig, who I haven't spoken to as yet. It was great to have you on.
It was good to be here.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
No
for
problem at
having
all.
us.
It was good to have you, and Deputy Premier, thank you as well for joining
Kathy.
us.
God bless the Cayman Islands.
Yes.
And let's move forward with
Yes.
PPM.
And God bless everybody. Have a good day.
100. Everybody get to those polling stations tomorrow. Tomorrow is your election day. Do the right thing.
The preceding was a paid political broadcast.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website. Just visit yumcayman.ky